Gen Z and Gen Y are famous for short forms ROFL, FOMO, and many more. What if life itself had a short form? In this video, I am going to tell you the short form for life. Hey folks, I am CSK and I am your personal coach. You're watching me on my channel, CSKSpeaks. Life, they say, is the biggest teacher. And I personally firmly believe in that fact. Life has taught me a lot of lessons. In fact, to me, life is a library. Library filled with moving, talking people, and they've got lots to teach us. And every single time I learn from them, I don't keep it just to myself. I make it a point to share it with people around us. In today's video, I'm going to share with you one such life lesson I learned about life itself. And to do that, we need to visit the life of David Hartman. David Hartman is an American-born young boy. This boy, when he was 7, lost his eyesight and became blind completely. He was born to a middle-class family. Father was a banker, mother was a homemaker. He had a sister by name Barbara. And when David, as I said, turned 7, he became blind. Around that time, as any young boy would do, he wanted to play baseball. In America, baseball is equivalent to cricket in India. So David goes up to his father at the dining table one evening and he asks his father, I want to try baseball. Mother, who was just sitting around, didn't know what to say, so she just gets up and walks into the kitchen. Sister just ignores this brother, but the father puts his hand on his hand and tells him, well, let's try it and see. Do you want to try? David very earnestly and eagerly says, yes, I want to try. And the next few days, Dad and David spends their time playing baseball. Now, as you can imagine, David was blind. He could not look at the ball coming towards him. But over a period of few trials and errors, David figures out that every single time his father throws the ball at him, there was a noise which was made through his father's glove. David starts to listen to that carefully, and the next time he figures out that sound, he just smashes his bat across and then makes his contact with the baseball. For the very first time, David hits the ball. As you can imagine, he is jubilant. He is so happy that he finally made it. From then on, there was no looking back. David becomes a pro in baseball. So much so that when he goes into his school, he goes on to become the captain of his baseball team. Can you imagine a blind boy trying his baseball skills at the garage in the backyard and then eventually going on to become the captain of the school baseball team? That was David for you. But then, all was not as rosy as it was. David grew up. He grew up with a lot of rejection around him, a lot of restrictions and a lot of limitations. People around him were making decisions for him and they were deciding what David should be doing and what David should not be doing. Now, around the age of 12, 14, his teachers took those decisions. And because of that, David started feeling lonely in life. Sometimes David used to sit in his room and cry bitterly. He used to get scared because all around him people were making decisions and that was darkness surrounding him because it was not his choice. Deep within, He didn't know what to do, and he used to get disturbed. Those times when he used to get disturbed and he used to cry and weep, his mother used to come and hug him tightly, give him a tight little hug and tell him, I know, David, I know. Things outside you are quite dark. You feel lonely. But let me tell you a secret. Every single time you feel that things around me is getting lonely, is getting dark, look deep within you. And when you look deep within you, you don't find darkness. You see light. You see brightness. And that is your inner strength. From that day forward, David takes respite in the inner strength deep within himself. Come age 15, David makes a bold choice, and that is to pursue medicine. David wants to become a medical doctor. Now, listening to this, both David's father and David's mom are perturbed. They're confused as to what has happened to this young little boy. So, without much delay, they start approaching his teacher. They get his teacher to come and speak to David and say, please convince him, please tell him that medical is not everyone's cup of tea. Medical studies is not easy. People who are absolutely normal find it difficult. And this boy, as all of us know, is blind. How can he pursue medicine? So the teacher, with great pride, walks into their home one Sunday afternoon. After a sumptuous meal, the teacher excuses himself and walks into David's bedroom. He looks at David, he puts his hand around his shoulder, talks to him casually for a while, and then over a period of time gets to the point. And that is when the teacher says, David, I heard that you want to pursue medicine. My boy, I am proud of all your accomplishments so far in the school. But let me tell you this is not easy. In fact, this is not even your cup of tea. You should choose something like an performing arts or some humanities or any other course. You should not get into medical science. David is not very comfortable to even discuss this topic because he has made his decision. But then, respecting the teacher, David continues to heed to his advice. But then, when the teacher uses the line, he says, David, you are a handicap. And as a handicap, you should give up on this dream of pursuing medicine. Now, that statement was enough. That statement disturbed David to its core. And he fights back. David fights back and he says, stop right there, teacher. Never ever call me a handicap. Because in my book, a handicap is that person who, in spite of having everything, does not want to do anything. I am not a handicap. I don't have the vision, I agree, but I want to pursue medicine. I have the dream and I want to achieve my dream, so I cannot be called a handicap. Now, listening to this resolve of David, the teacher gives up. He walks out of the house and just forgets about the whole conversation. But before that, he tells his parents, I'm sorry, I could not convince David to give up on his dream. Parents had the last hope in the teacher, but with the teacher failing and refusing to come back, they could not do anything but to support David in his pursuit of his medical degree. Now, David goes forward and he fills up the application form. He picks up 10 top US universities to study medicine. Almost 8 of them, 8 of the top 10 medical colleges, sends back a rejection letter. And their reason for rejection is simple. A blind boy cannot pursue medicine. David, for the very, very first time, starts to feel dejected. Starts feeling like he has lost it. And for that very first time, tears roll out of his eyes in his teenage, in his young adulthood. And that's when his sister Barbara holds his hand and walks with him on the beach near to his house. One morning, as David was deciding as to what next and waiting for those two colleges to revert, one call comes back again, and there he gets a rejection one more time. The ninth college where David has applied has also rejected. Now David is almost on the verge of giving up, but something deep inside him, that inner strength, is not allowing him to actually give up. The next evening, another phone call comes, but this time, as fate would have it, this was a call of acceptance. Barbara picks up the phone and she goes jubilant over the news. She just jumps all over the house and hugs David and tells him, "You have done it! You have done it, David! The college, the Temple University of Medicine in America, has accepted you for giving you a seat in studying medicine." That's how David gets into Temple University of Medicine. Now, to get there, one of the professors who was a board of studies member at the Temple University, who did not even know David but saw the application and argued that if Para-Olympics can be conducted to support physically handicapped or challenged people, then why can't we have a special seat for this student who wants to pursue medicine? That professor ensured David gets the call of acceptance. From then on, David's life can be compared to something like a mission. Because you can imagine a blind boy in a medical college. He could neither look through the microscope, or look at the books, look at all those experiments in the labs. But David was blessed. And if you remember the baseball incident, he had an excellent ear. Whenever he used to put his stethoscope on the body organs of patients as he was studying medicine, he could literally listen to each and every organ speaking to him. So David goes on to become one of the most reputed, respectable, renowned psychiatric student. All this comes to an end when the graduation ceremony is organized, where David is now graduating as the first blind doctor of United States of America. Now the dean of the college and the university is excited. He comes up on stage and he gives his welcome address ceremoniously with pride. David, along with his parents, are sitting there in the front row. And then the professor who had argued for David's admission takes the center stage and invites David to come up on the stage and speak a few words with the world. David slowly makes his way up onto the stage, and as he takes the mic, he takes control of the podium with his hands and then starts to speak. The first few words of David were these: "Well, when I was 7, I wanted to play baseball. I went to my dad and I asked him, 'Can I play baseball?' My dad did not reject. He said, 'Let's try it and see,' and asked, 'Do you want to try?' I tried and I became a pro in baseball. When I used to get scared of darkness around me, my mother hugged me tight and she said, 'Look deep inside you and there is inner strength. There is brightness.' That gave me strength, and from that day till this very day, my strength has been my inner strength deep within me." My sister was never kind to me. In fact, let me tell you this. Every other time I used to forget my braille watch up in my room, I used to request her, "Can you please get that for me?" And she used to come to me as a taskmaster and tell me, "Well, You figure out your own way. Why am I going to help you every time? That made me to find my own way. I figured it out, and I also told myself I have to find my own way in my life. And today, growing amidst these three people, my dad, my mom, and my sister, I have reached here. Thanks to all of you who have contributed to my success, who's making me the first blind boy to become a doctor of this great country. But let me tell you this towards my end. And as I end my speech, I want to tell you, this success does not mean anything to me if I don't enjoy it with all of you who actually made this success possible. So my dear friends, ladies and gentlemen who have gathered here for this graduation ceremony, says David, my message to you for life is the very word life. And when I speak of life, I want to give you a short form for life. L, let's try it out. I, inner strength. Each one of us have been blessed with inner strength. F, figure out your own way. We got to figure out our own way. My calling was medicine. Figure out your calling. And last but not the least, E, enjoy success. Success does not mean anything if it is not shared and if it is not enjoyed. These were the last few words of David at that graduation ceremony. And David walks back collecting his graduation certificate. And the rest, as we know, is history, because he goes on to become one of the most respected, reputable and revered psychiatric doctor in the history of America. And even to this day, he is the first blind boy who became a medical doctor. David Hartman. So friends, when you look at David Hartman and listen to this entire story, we all got the short form for life itself. L-I-F-E. Now in this new age of Gen Z and Gen Y, where we keep trading short forms at one another, how about life as a short form on your side, so that you get one up your sleeve the next time you want to give it away to people around you, a short form. Remember L-I-F-E, life, and remember the lessons life can teach us, and life can be the best teacher. Thank you very much for watching. Till next time, take care, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel, because every Tuesday and every Friday you get fresh new videos on different topics which can serve to you as inspiration, motivation, and sometimes even information.